Alright, so welcome back to the SuperCoach Nuff channel. In today's video, going to have a look at the current state of the AFL Supercoach side as of the end of February. So we've had one lot of trial games. The more formal round of trial games is on next week, so still a bit to shake out, a bit of time to go, but um, just quick check in just to address the state of the team and where we're at and what we're thinking going forward. So, um, as you can see in the defence, along with a lot of other people, going pretty light. So I've gone with Nick Dacos as the one sort of more expensive player, and even then he's well under the 600k mark. I guess, it looks like all reports are he's looking good this season. He was a gun last year for us, so happy to keep riding the Dacos train. Got Elliot Yeo at D2, so a bit of a mid-range option. But again, all reports are he's looking the good, lots of value in that pick. So happy to have him there as well. D3 at the moment, I've got Nick Caulfield. So the report was he wasn't playing in the first round of matches the weekend just gone. So we'll wait and see on him. There is an option there, and I guess if you look at the rest of the defence, you might be able to work that out. But after that, I've gone with Ruben Ginbey, West Coast midfield defender. Sounds like he's set to go for round one, so have him in there. Connor McKenna. The report was he didn't do so well in the hit out last weekend, but I guess, trial form can only tell you so much. So sounds like he's going to be in and around the starting team for Brisbane. So keen to have him on board at that price. And then I've gone with Chesser from West Coast. So looks like he's going to play. He played on the weekend, so I'm not sure why he's still injury designated. I guess another cheap option there from the West Coast. I know they didn't do too well last year, so I mean, get those young guys in, give them a run, I reckon. And then on the bench, I've gone with Wilmot and Cowan. So Josh Weddle has been sitting there for most of the pre-season, but looks like Cowan might get a run at the Blues, and he's a little bit cheaper. So if the Caulfield pick doesn't work out, Weddle will probably come in there. Not interested, thanks, mate. And that'll free up a bit more cash where I use it. Um, we could downgrade a couple of the sort of speculative above bottom dollar price picks and maybe get another gun in somewhere. So speaking of guns, excuse me. I guess the three guns I've got in the midfield, or four, I suppose, if you count Steele at the reduced price, but I've gone with Laird. So Tuke Miller copped a bit of a hamstring injury, so he's disappeared from my team. And I've gone with Laurie Laird just over Clayton Oliver, purely down to the fact he seems to be more consistent, so a bit more of a banker captaincy type option. After that, I've gone with Bont and McRae, so doubling up on the Bulldogs rather midfield. With Josh Dunkley gone, I think it's just going to create more opportunity for them to bag some extra points. So both of them at the price I'm pretty happy to have, along with Jack Steele. So, he can be up around the top dollar mark on his day. So, so I've got four guns there, as well as Tom Green. So it looks like he's looking good. He'll definitely make a bit of cash and could be a sort of cut price keeper there at the M5. After that, going with Jacob Hopper, just like about everyone else in the competition. Bit of noise on outside, so apologies if that's coming through the microphone. Um, yeah, so good value, should get a good roll and make some money. And then my little speculative pick there, you can see Jai Cully from the Eagles. So he came in halfway through last season as a absolute bottom dollar cheapie, and I think he only got about 3 games, but did the business in those 3. So surely they've got to find a spot for him at the start of this season. I know they've got a few people back from injury and the like, but looks like he's made for Supercoach. So happy to have a punt on him. Obviously, if he doesn't come off, can downgrade him to another cheap option as it pops up, and no harm, no foul there. And then Ashcroft, everyone's got Ashcroft, so enough said. On the bench, Phillips, so obviously because of the stacked midfield, he's had to slide on the bench. Um, Charlie Constable, so looks like he's going to get a start for the Suns, so that cheap price. He could obviously slot into that defence as well, but it is good to have at least sort of one swing there. Um, and then Oscar Baker is the third cheapie. Ideally, that he'd be a mid forward swing, and there is an option or two around that. But at the moment, he's the M11. So I guess you might be wondering, with such a stacked midfield, how's the rest of the side looking? So this is where I've gone a bit different to what most sort of sane strategies, for lack of a better term, will go with. So in the ruck, I've gone with Ryan Marshall, just like everyone else. Obviously, it looks like he'll be rucking a bit more this year, as long as he can stay injury free. He could easily go up to that 600k range. And then I've gone with Radigalia, so it looks like he's playing a bit of defence for Geelong. And I guess given the uncertainty in the ruck position, more than happy to start with this cheap option, and go with the more certain options in other spaces, particularly the midfield and the forward line. And then still got Madden on the bench as the cheapie. I guess the floating donut, as they call it in AFL parlance. Yeah, so obviously he'll flick on there if we want to use the VC loophole. And so then to the forwards, and I guess you'll notice that there's a lot of cash here in the forwards. So gone with the 4 big guns like a lot of other people have: Dunkley, Cogs, Rosie, Taranto. Um, I'm sure a lot of people have those 4, if not a combination thereof. So yeah, it makes sense. Jack Ziebel, if he's back playing defence for North, had him a couple of years ago when he was playing in defence, and did the business out of the forward line. Also, once he gets dual position, he could obviously flick back and give me a bit more versatility there. Toby McLean, I think most people have, so he's there. And then in the bench, I've gone with a lot of money here, so Flanders and Philippou. I guess the reasoning for that is that generally the cheap forward options don't make a lot of money. And at least it appears that way. The likes of Green, Van Ruin, they all seem to be playing very much forward, so they rely a lot more on the goals um, to make the money. So Flanders, particularly Tuke Miller, sort of struggling the first part of the season. He could be a cheeky little cash grab, and then could be flicked up to a bit more of an upgrade to a premium quicker. And then Philippou is probably the one I'm not overly convinced on. A bit of mixed reports that he's going to be, key forward, which, sort of ruins the argument I just made. But then also that he's pretty well locked into the St Kilda side. So I guess until there's a brighter picture of the forward positions and how they look, and if there's a bolter that we could get in, I'm happy to sit him there. So that's the team. As I said, there's a bit of flexibility available. So if Caulfield was to be removed for, say, a Weddle. That's another 70, 75 grand. Obviously, you could take that and upgrade perhaps Phillip or even Flanders to someone. Maybe even bite the bullet with Zeeble if that pick doesn't work out, and then there's another gun. Maybe even something like Zeeble down um, to some cheapie, give us a couple of 100,000 K, and maybe another sort of move like Phillip who Flanders out. Caulfield could become someone like a Hayden Young, perhaps. Um, yeah, so I guess that's where it's at the moment. Like I said, pretty happy to have the stacked midfield and the stacked forward line, and go on the cheap ruck as well as the cheapy options that seem to be popping up everywhere in defence. Um, so yeah, so that's about it for now. Thanks very much for watching. Um, well, actually, I guess before we wrap it up, feel free to comment if you've got any suggestions on how this could be better. Like I said, if you know a better sort of F8 option that I'm clearly missing, let me know. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one.